dense fog like this in Little Italy blanketing parts of San Diego. I'm monitoring where the worst of it is so you know exactly what to expect before you head out the door.
And I'm keeping an eye on the foggy roads for any crashes that might impact your drive to work.
A South Bay city putting tax dollars to work before collecting them. The new project that's kicking off today.
San Diego leaders looking for a way to directly compete with SDG&E. How they hope to drive down your utility bill.
Hey, welcome you guys. It's a Wednesday morning and yep, we're looking at fog all around the county. I'm Virginia Chow.
I'm Jason Martinez, and it's really kind of putting a damper on the later today how nice it's going to be.
I know, it's going to be such a nice day, but we have to get through the fog first. But that will burn off very quickly. In fact, it's been improving in the Mission Bay area, but still pretty dense in that location. The worst of it is right along the 5. So Oceanside, Carlsbad, near zero visibility there, but even parts of Mission Valley, Terrasana, Kearny Mesa, visibility near nothing at times. Right now in Kearny Mesa reporting 0.3 of a mile, even downtown 0.3 of a mile there. So most of our major freeways dealing with some fog, at least at times this morning, including the 5, the 15, and the 8, also the 805. That dense fog advisory continues until 8 a.m., so 2 more hours on that one. So as you're heading out to the bus stop, wear something bright, wear something reflective so that cars can see you coming a little bit better. But it is going to be a beautiful day this afternoon. 70s along the coast, near 80 inland, in the mountains in the 60s, and near 80 also in the deserts. I'm tracking the quick warm up today hour by hour and which neighborhoods will hit 80 today. I'll have that for you in 7 minutes. And fog may cause some problems on the roadways, but Kalina Strinas, she's got you covered.
Yeah, Megan, take a look at this. This is our 10 News breaking news tracker driving around right now, and you can see just a little bit of fog in the distance here. Luckily, though, this roadway is actually open, so that's some of the good news. We've had a pretty quiet morning. We do actually have a crash to get you to, though, with our 10 News Live traffic tracker, this time on the 8, right at the 805 connector road. Now, this has been here for about 10 to 15 minutes or so. Right now, they have the ramp shut down. They're trying to run a traffic break on that ramp to get everything out of the way. But you can see that heavy backup already on the 805. It's a 32-minute commute as you leave National City and continue up toward the 5 freeway. Now, also right now on the 94 heading westbound, we do have a little bit of a slowdown right around the 54, but it looks like overall speeds about 15 minutes out of the East County area to the 5. Jason, Virginia.
Thank you, Kalina. Meanwhile, 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is live in Little Italy, where fog is blanketing parts of that neighborhood. Mimi, what have you noticed?
Yeah, Virginia, seeing some patchy fog throughout Little Italy this morning. The visibility is pretty poor once you start heading toward the bay. Gets a little, the fog gets a little more dense down that way. I've been talking with people here going in and out of the Starbucks for their morning coffee. A lot tell me they didn't have too much trouble yet driving in the fog to get here this morning, but they are keeping an eye on those roads. Here is what it looked like around 4:40 this morning. And just about 30 minutes later, the fog just got thicker. Heading up to the freeway is more of an issue right now where it starts to become more dense. So make sure you are slowing down this morning, giving yourself some extra time and paying attention to those headlights and tail lights surrounding your car as well. Reporting live in Little Italy, Mimi Alcala, 10 News.
Thank you, Mimi. And breaking overnight in Little Italy, a busy intersection just reopened there after a car hit a young man who was walking. You see him on the ground. Police say the car was heading down Hawthorne when 2 men crossed right in front of it. The car hit one of those men, seriously injuring his foot and his leg. You see him putting him on a stretcher. That man did stay pretty calm, though, you could see. He was taken to a hospital. He's expected to be okay. The driver did stop after hitting that man. Police are talking to him.
Happening today, all eyes on the Oroville Dam. A round of rain will start falling tonight, but state officials are confident that people downstream are not in danger. They lifted the evacuation order for nearly 200,000 people yesterday, and that's after the water level dropped low enough that engineers don't think the emergency spillway is going to be needed for the storm.
I'm so glad to be here, especially knowing that we can be here and we didn't just sneak in.
Now, crews have been working around the clock to repair the emergency spillway using helicopters and dump trucks to drop rocks. The Red Cross has 16 volunteers from San Diego going to help.
6:03, some new details this morning about President Trump's aides and associates and what connections they have to Russia. Intelligence leaders now say Trump campaign aides had repeated contacts with Russian intelligence in the year before the election. They reportedly found that out by intercepting calls and phone records. They say among those aides involved, former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who you know resigned this week. Sources say President Trump knew about Flynn's conversations with the Russian ambassador to the U.S. for 3 weeks. Some Senate Republicans say they're concerned.
Obviously, there's a administration that is in significant disarray as far as national security is concerned.
Meanwhile, Congressman Jason Chaffetz, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, says right now he has no plans to investigate Flynn's ties to Russia.
In Virginia, President Trump, known for his early morning tweets, sent out a series of them, including a couple about Russia. This was one here sent within the last couple hours. He said this Russian connection nonsense is merely an attempt to cover up the many mistakes made in Hillary Clinton's losing campaign. Let's go ahead and send it back to Jason with more on politics.
Yeah, no doubt about it, because happening today, several major retailers are fighting President Trump's plan to pay for the border wall. Executives from AutoZone, Target, Best Buy, and several other chains are heading to Capitol Hill. They're going to be urging lawmakers to fight the proposed 20% import tax. The companies argue it would only lead to higher prices on stuff and would also wipe out their profits.
Speaking of taxes, happening today, the city of Chula Vista getting ready to fix a road using money it hasn't collected yet.
10 News reporter Matt Mendez live in Chula Vista with the project starting today. And Matt, how's the city going to pay for this?
Well, every neighbor I talked to has said the same thing. There's tons of potholes on Floyd Avenue right now. The sales tax hasn't even gone into effect yet. It goes into effect in April, but the city's already going to be filling potholes like the one you see here on the street. It's the start of new improvements and upgrades to the city. And more than 2/3 of voters passed Measure P in November. It's a half-cent sales tax for 10 years. The money will not only help fix some of the bad roads around Chula Vista, but also pay for new police and fire vehicles as well as 911 equipment. The city told me they plan to get close to 40 new fire trucks and fire vehicles, as well as close to 130 new police cars and motorcycles. Now, some critics worry the money could go to employees' pensions and salaries, since the city council has discretion on how to use it. The city tells me the money's not intended for that purpose, and there will be an oversight committee. Mike Selman says he hopes the money is spent on the right things.
You know, it's almost embarrassing driving on these roads. I mean, I live on a cul-de-sac. It's the quiet end of the street. But still, you can see that nothing's been done for many years. I was especially excited to find out that we were one of the first areas that was going to get attention.
And the current sales tax in Chula Vista is 8%. This new half-cent tax goes into effect in April. Live in Chula Vista, Matt Mendez, 10 News.
Well, this is new at 6. AAA now says young millennials are the riskiest drivers on the roadways. Now, I know what you're thinking. All young drivers are bad, but take a look at this poll right here. As you can see, teenage drivers are actually doing better than 19 to 24-year-olds. In the recent study, 88% of 19 to 24-year-olds said that they engaged in risky behavior like texting and driving and speeding within the last 30 days. And that's actually higher than the number of teenagers, 16 to 18, who admitted taking risks behind the wheel as well. So risky behavior out there. A little surprised that teenagers are doing better than 19 to 24-year-olds.
So a couple things. This is a survey. So is it because 16 to 18-year-olds aren't fessing up, or is it because a lot of them still live at home and they know mom and dad will come down on them and the others have already left the house?
That's a good point.
They have a bad rap, these millennials. They need to hire a public relations firm to give them an overhaul, because as if their reputation couldn't get worse. That story kind of proves it.
Well, you're doing a good job sticking up for them, so maybe that could be your next move.
Yeah.
All right. Developing story. It's only been a month since the Chargers left town, but a prominent local developer tells 10 News he's working to get the NFL back in San Diego. Doug Manchester thinks he can get a stadium built in Mission Valley, and he sent a letter to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell saying that this thing could be funded privately, not with taxpayer dollars. He thinks it could lure the Raiders if their plans for the Vegas stadium fall apart. Manchester, the former owner of the Union Tribune, as well as local hotels and other properties. So stay tuned. Let's hope it's sooner rather than later. Now, breaking news update on the giant tree you see right there slammed down on the road in Del Cerro. Caused a crash when a driver actually slammed on his brakes to avoid hitting that tree. Photojournalist Paul Andrick was there in the 10 News Breaking News Tracker as crews got ready to chop it up.
This was seen around 10:30 last night. This is going to be on College Avenue, south of Navajo Road. This is where a tree fell across the road, causing a two-car crash. You see these skid marks here and some of this debris field in the road. That's from a car that skidded to try to stop and not hit this tree, and then was rear-ended by another car. Fortunately, no injuries on that crash. Now, this tree is about to be chopped up by the roads department here. They're on scene. You can see where it has fallen over. It looks like the root system and everything just kind of crumbled and fell out of the ground there, and it caused it to topple over across the street. Unknown if that was due to the storms or just its age. From Del Cerro, Paul Andrade, 10 News.
6:09. If you can see this behind us, this KGTV sign, this is really an indication of the fog, because remember earlier it was really heavy, then it cleared
out,
and now it's foggy again.
Yeah, and that's kind of what fog does. It kind of moves and ebbs and flows all morning long. In fact, we went on air. Oceanside had near zero visibility, and then about 15-20 minutes later it was up to 3 miles, and now it's down to 0.3 of a mile. So you're going to be running into pockets of it that maybe weren't there earlier. Downtown has been very foggy all morning, but Poway, you can see the fog off in the distance. So if you're in Poway, you may be running into it as you're driving in this morning. Carlsbad and La Jolla dealing with the worst of it. Parts of the 5 near zero visibility. Downtown, Kearny Mesa and Oceanside all less than half a mile. So leave extra time for travel or leave a little bit later today if you can, because that fog won't last for too long. In fact, that dense fog advisory set to expire at 8 this morning. And then we're sunny. We're going to see temperatures for some inland areas, including Escondido, Poway and El Cajon, climb to the 80s today. Generally in the 70s along the coastline, though a few spots will be staying in the 60s. Santee also hitting 80.